The Marvel Cinematic Universe has basically mastered the art of selling their epic tentpole movies, and while most of the time the MCU has succeeded by simply delivering the fun superhero thrills promised by their marketing, every so often they've gone out of their way to actively deceive fans. So with that in mind then, I'm Ellie with What Culture here with 10 genius misdirects in the MCU movie trailers. Number 10. Bucky shoots RHODEY out of the sky in Captain America: Civil War. This one's elegantly simple and required nothing more than a sneaky bit of editing, but it sure as hell got fans talking. The second trailer for Captain America: Civil War seemed to show Bucky shooting RHODEY out of the sky, possibly killing him in the process. Given that the film was centered around the conflict between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, it absolutely tracked that Bucky shooting RHODEY would further heighten the emotional stakes of the fraught scenario. So what was there to doubt? Yet, as it turned out, these shots were actually taken from different scenes entirely. Bucky was firing his gun from a scene much later in the movie, while RHODEY was shot out of the sky by Vision, who did it accidentally. For months, fans were wondering how the MCU could possibly walk back Bucky either gravely wounding or outright killing an Avenger, and the truth is simply that he didn't do it. Number 9. The Mandarin fake-out in Iron Man 3. Love it or hate it, the Mandarin twist in Iron Man 3 is one of the most ingenious marketing sleights of hand the MCU has ever pulled off. The movie's trailers simply presented the Mandarin as a straight-up antagonist, a shadowy, ominous villain causing hell for Tony Stark, as played with deliciously sinister aplomb by the great Ben Kingsley. But midway through the film itself, this is revealed to be a total fake-out. Kingsley isn't in fact playing the Mandarin, but Trevor Slattery, an actor paid by the real Mandarin Aldrich Killian to portray a larger-than-life smokescreen version of the supervillain. It was a completely shocking reveal that took basically everybody by surprise, even if it also understandably annoyed those fans hoping to finally see the Mandarin done full justice on the big screen. This wasn't the last time we saw either the Mandarin or Slattery in an MCU movie though, as the 100% legit Mandarin going by the name Wen Wu had a major antagonist role in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and a reformed Slattery also returned for a hilarious extended cameo. Number 8. Thanos' Infinity Stones in Avengers: Infinity War. The first of two incredibly smart misdirects in the trailers for Avengers: Infinity War now. In order to keep audiences ignorant of the film's many surprises, Marvel Studios sneakily re-edited key shots from the trailers to ensure that even those who pored over every last frame of material couldn't quite be sure where things were going. Case in point, Infinity War's second trailer concluded with footage of Captain America managing to hold an Infinity Gauntlet wielding Thanos at bay. Fans quickly noticed that despite this fight scene appearing to be taken from the movie's climax, Thanos had just 2 of the Infinity Stones in the gauntlet, the Space and Power Stones, making it unclear precisely when in the film it actually took place. As it turns out, these shots and some others throughout the trailers were digitally manipulated to conceal how many Infinity Stones Thanos actually had. Of course, in reality, Thanos had collected 5 of the 6 stones by this point, but Marvel Studios understandably wanted to throw fans for a loop and ensure there was plenty to be surprised by when they finally saw the movie for themselves. I mean, it's very clever. Number 7. Zombie Strange looks like a villain in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The trailers for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness certainly cemented the movie's off-kilter tone, particularly as it pertained to the presence of 2 apparently nefarious variants of Doctor Strange. The trailers first introduced us to the mischievous Supreme Strange, who was cleverly shown coming to blows with our prime Doctor Strange. And later, trailers also showed glimpses of a grotesque, undead version of Strange, which fans quickly dubbed Zombie Strange, seemingly yet another malevolent variant that our Strange would have to face off against. Hilariously, this was actually not the case at all. Zombie Strange is in fact the reanimated corpse of Defender Strange, who dies at the beginning of the movie. His dead body is then possessed by Strange Prime in the 3rd act in order to try and rescue America Chavez from Wanda. The context of Zombie Strange in the trailers and in the final movie are totally different, with the character ultimately being played more for perverse laughs as Strange takes control of this decrepit, scarcely held together shell of a person. Number 6. WANDA'S Vision in Avengers: Age of Ultron. The marketing for Avengers Age of Ultron was criticised by many fans for wildly misrepresenting the film's tone, suggesting that it was a much darker Avengers sequel, only for the final product to be relatively light-hearted and Ultron to be far more of a comedic antagonist than expected. There was one clever editing flourish in the movie's first teaser trailer though, which got fans relentlessly discussing the possibility that Ultron would deal massive, even fatal damage to the focal Avengers lineup. A single shot showed what appeared to be the corpse of Thor lying next to Captain America's broken shield during what fans understandably assumed was one of the hero's clashes with Ultron. But in the film itself, this actually turns out to be a mere vision administered to Tony by Scarlet Witch, whereby Tony witnesses the Avengers' apparent defeat at the hands of the Chitauri from the first Avengers film. Hilariously, even as an illusion, it hasn't got anything to do with Ultron, yet was quite perfectly spliced into the movie's trailers to help establish an altogether drearier and more imposing vibe for the sequel's marketing. Number 5. The missing Spider-Man in Spider-Man No Way Home. Marvel Studios employed a frankly ridiculous level of restraint where the trailers for Spider-Man No Way Home were concerned, by refusing to share even a single fleeting glimpse of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's returning iterations of Spider-Man. But they went further than even that by literally erasing the pair from trailer shots taken from the movie's climax. Even though fans soon enough picked up on Lizard being kicked in the face by a seemingly invisible force, it was absolutely genius in ensuring that fans absolutely had to see the movie as soon as possible to confirm for themselves if Maguire and Garfield were really in it. Anyone who'd been even remotely following the movie's production knew the truth, and yet there was that 0.01% sliver of doubt that was so perfectly exploited by this weirdly vague, scaled-back marketing. And the result was the most commercially successful film of the entire pandemic to date, confirming it was absolutely the right marketing approach. Number 4. DRUIG is the big bad in Eternals. The various trailers and TV spots for Eternals didn't exactly make it clear who the movie's villain would be, though the smart money was unequivocally on DRUIG. The trailers showed fleeting glimpses of DRUIG both standing atop the burning ruins of an ancient Aztec city, Tenochtitlan, possibly having caused the inferno, and seemingly operating a cult of mind-controlled humans in the woods. Those two images certainly made him more immediately sus than any other Eternal, prompting intense fan speculation that he would turn on his fellow Eternals mid-movie and reveal his true nefarious intentions. But this actually turned out to be incredibly well-placed bait, as DRUIG actually breaks up the brutality at Tenochtitlan and mind controls the villagers in order to help take down an attacking deviant. The real backstabbing Eternal is later revealed to be Icarus, who has Ajax murdered while serving the celestial Arishem. Barry Keoghan is just so damn good at playing unsettling characters that it wasn't hard to believe he'd be Eternal's turncoat character. But alas, the marketing played on our prejudices perfectly. Number 3. The Elementals are the antagonists in Spider-Man Far From Home. Though even the most casual comic book fan was surely aware of Mysterio's status as a villain in the Spider-Man comics, the trailers for Spider-Man Far From Home tried their damnedest to convince us that we were getting a benevolent rebooted version. The trailers played up the presence of Mysterio as basically Peter Parker's new mentor, following Tony Stark's death in Avengers Endgame, a cool uncle, if you will. Given that the MCU has a history of remixing heroes and villains alike in their own image, it wasn't exactly a leap to believe that this Mysterio from an alternate universe could really be a hero, especially with the trailers showing off the antagonistic elementals for Spidey and Mysterio to contend with. Yet halfway through the film, director John Watts violently pulls the rug out, revealing that Mysterio, aka Quentin Beck, is a disgruntled former employee of Stark Industries who has used advanced technology to depict himself as a superhero, with the elementals in fact being advanced projections. Even though some fans suspected Mysterio was the primary antagonist all along, the trailers really worked hard to misdirect us, pointing to the big bad elementals as the real villains. For both audiences and Peter himself, the elementals were a distraction intended to prevent us from seeking Beck's own villainy. Number 2. The Wakanda money shot in Avengers Infinity War. Perhaps not a single MCU marketing misdirect is as ingenious and committed as Avengers Infinity War, literally cooking up an insane fake trailer shot that didn't even appear in the damn movie. Infinity War's first trailer ended with the unforgettable glimpse of numerous key Avengers, including the Hulk, all running towards the screen with a massive army behind them in Wakanda. And while Infinity War does conclude with a huge Wakanda battle featuring most of the Avengers pictured, the heroes never team up for this sort of organised charge towards the Outriders. They're mostly sectioned off into their own individual fights throughout the battle. But most amusingly, the Hulk never actually appears in the fight, refusing to come out and join the battle after getting bodied by Thanos at the start of the film. Bruce Banner is then forced to don the Hulkbuster armor to take part in the fight, a fact that was brilliantly concealed by this shot. A shot so fantastic and expensive looking that nobody ever believed it wouldn't appear in the film. Number 1. The disguised time skip in Avengers Endgame. The trailers for Avengers Endgame ultimately disguised a hell of a lot, but the most surprising revelation that they cleverly concealed? The movie's sudden 5-year time skip following its grim prologue sequence. Beyond easy tricks like not showing Bro Thor in the marketing, Marvel went to the lengths of using CGI to change the colour of Black Widow's hair in the trailers, altering it from red blonde back to the shorter platinum blonde bob she had in Infinity War, and even altering her clothes to match. Though some fans suspected there might be a time skip of some sort, especially once later trailers showed off Natasha's real hairdo, Marvel did a fantastic job of creating so much confusion and inconsistency across their trailers for Endgame that it was extremely difficult to get a bead on exactly how much time had passed since Infinity War. And so when the 5 years later title card appeared in the movie proper, it was an all-timer holy sh moment, as anyone who saw Endgame on opening weekend will surely remember. And that concludes our list. If you can think of any that we missed, then do let us know in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.